Guys, the editor of The Viper, the famous Age of Empires 2 player, actually decided to do a story on me, and he asked if he could ask me some questions, and I recorded some answers for him over email, but I had no idea he was going to make a 40-minute video. The guy's name is Tiramis. I'm just going to sub. I'm going to like. I guess it's going to be good. I think I don't know where he sourced this material, but let's take a look. I mean, I should react to this, right? It's a video on me. Let's check it out. This is me as a kid, by the way. I don't know where he got this photo. I did not give him this. Maybe from some documentary? Yo! Don't we look the same? You don't think? Alright, let's check it out. Wow, that's a lot of memories in a short time. Oh my god.
Manuel Grubby Schrenkhausen was born in 1986. He was a professional esport athlete and he retired 10 years ago, meaning that he was part of the first generation of pro video gamers.
True.
In his career, he's had to change games, move into casting instead of playing, and finally decided to commit to what would become a very successful business.
Wifey.
This is Grubby's story. Our story begins in 2003,
Ooh, that's
when
Tiramis.
little Manuel is still in high school. He plays video games with his brothers, and unlike them,
That's my brothers.
when little Manuel is still in high school, he plays video games.
That's my three brothers. This was in Malaysia. We got married there in 2010. I mean, I didn't get married to my three brothers, obviously. My wife and I got married there.
Games with his brothers, and unlike them, his personality
Grubby, a young, promising player, 2003. Hey, my hair's the same today.
pushes him to focus
What is this? GameSpot Live. Greg Kasavin, executive editor, GameSpot, with an advertised copy of Warcraft 3 with the Night Elf portrait. That was pretty rare. Really high resolution Warcraft 3 going on the background as well. I can almost see a pixel.
on one game in particular, Warcraft 3.
Hey, better war mill location than Tyler, huh? It's right next to the trees.
He even
Oh, my first attempt at growing a beard.
participates in some lands close to the Netherlands, including the
Who's that? That's Nikita. Lil DC. He used to have nightmares where he would sleepwalk. One time, this guy got up in a player room with other people sleeping in the same hotel room. He got up, he took a guy's bed and lifted it into the air, and his eyes were red, like with the guy sleeping on it. This is not Asmongold. This is Danish Asmongold. No, it's Thomas Glinski. A very good Night Elf player. One of my main practice partners. Very good guy.
first electronic sports World Cup that happened in Poitiers, France.
This is from my first international tournament ever, Electronic Sports World Cup 2003.
Who's that? Wait, who's that?
I was 17.
I can't tell.
was in my penultimate year in high school.
In the end, he doesn't make it out of the group stage and finishes 9th to 12th. But the same year, he qualified for the World Cyber Games, which were held in Seoul.
That's Tillerman, bro! It's Tillerman back in 2003. What can I do? There's nothing I can do. The human army is better than your army.
South Korea. That's right, at only
It was
17
It was not that exaggerated.
years old, Manuel traveled to the other side of the planet to compete against 73 other international gamers. Second of his group, he moved on to beating Tillerman in the round of 32, but lost in the next match against the Bulgarian Insomnia, who will move on to winning the whole tournament.
Yep.
He plays a few more tournaments that year, earning a total of $2,000.
Oh my
So
god.
I asked, is it okay that I study 1 year later? And I guess I kind of promised, 1 year of Warcraft, see what I can do, then I go back to study.
We all know how that went.
After what seemed to be
Oh. Nice. We had the dual keyboard. We had the dual setup. I'm still using the same table.
tough negotiations with his
Wait, is my posture bad? Wait, let me check. Oh, shit. That is not such a good posture. But it was really good for me to play. I played well with it, so that's what matters.
After what seemed to be tough negotiations with his parents, little Manuel began his esport journey. 1 year.
That was my teammate. Why is there like a midget on the screen? Is it because we're both Dutch and the guy isn't? That was my teammate. He was like 195, which is like 6'5". Arvid Fekken, 4K Myth. He was my 2v2 teammate, and we joined Four Kings together. This must have been back in 2003, where we got, I think, top 4 in the 2-on-2 tournament at WCG. Yo! Okay. That guy, he might be one of the... I mean, it's hard to see because I can only see half his face. But I think he's one of the WC Replays content creators from back in 2003, making audio commentaries and stuff.
To give it all, and hopefully convince his parents he should...
Am I drinking? Yeah, this must be after the tournament. I never drank before the tournament was over. Zeus, Fury, Kriolofus, Lil DC, Todd, and Trimble, which was our manager. Are these guys still around? Only Todd is still around. The rest is all out of esports, I think.
Continue pursuing his dream of becoming a pro gamer.
Very good posture again. Again, very good for me to perform in the game. Not very good looking, but the posture really worked for me.
And hopefully convince his parents he should continue pursuing his dream of becoming a pro gamer.
There were other students who would take a sabbatical to go to Australia for a while, lose their wild feathers, discover themselves, get some experience, and I thought that is not too dissimilar from taking half a year or a year off sabbatical for traveling for pro gaming. Once it happened though, because I promised to stop after a year, I felt like I was kind of on borrowed time, on leased time. So I felt like I had to make the most out of it immediately.
And boy, he did. Grubby left for Korea to train with his team in a house of 6 guys. For 3 months, he would wake up, practice, get lunch, get back to practice, get dinner, and go back to practice again. That is when they weren't competing. His first big win happened in early 2004 in Las Vegas.
Prize pool $25,000. $10,000 for first. They never paid out, by the way. I wonder if he's going to cover that. These guys scammed people. The guy that ran this continued to scam under other tournament organization names.
The CyberX Games, a 6...
Chris Hill and his father, Joe Hill. Yeah, fuck both of those guys.
100,000 multi-gaming tournament with 25k dedicated to Warcraft 3, from which no footage can be found online. With that and a few more good results, Grubby became known as one of, if not the best European player. But the scene was dominated by Koreans.
Can't you sue them? Yeah, a 17-year-old Dutch guy is gonna sue business people in America. Definitely. By the way, I had never won any prize money yet when I won that. So with what money am I gonna sue them? I have nothing.
They didn't come to many tournaments, but when they did, it was very clear they were far ahead. A few minor tournaments later, and September 2004 is around the corner. The sabbatical year is almost over.
Yep.
Once that time was about to draw to an end, and I had to decide, do I go back to university? It became this, I was visualizing my life, Grubby, the ex-pro gamer, now gone back to university, starting at the very beginning, basically. It's kind of like if I had to start on Warcraft 3 again with a new race, as if I had never played any games ever.
Yeah, going to university after making it as a pro player is like starting a new race in Warcraft 3. It's the same thing, actually. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. You know what? I often had dreams back in those days. I had dreams about going to university. I dreamt it dozens and dozens of times. Like how it would feel like to show up in a classroom / college room, university hall, whatever it looks like, right? And I would like simulate conversations with my study mates like I would simulate what it would feel like to blend in with them, knowing that I don't know anything about the education system. It feels like I just show up there and everybody knows what they want out of the studies and out of their job, and I don't know anything. Like, I would feel very clueless in my dreams, and the only thing that I had was that I'm very good at Warcraft 3 and that I used to compete, but I gave it all up to be here with you guys, and now I'm going to do the same thing as you, except I haven't got the clue where to start. That's what it felt like, and I kept dreaming that over and over. It was not a good dream. Hey, but you know what? Maybe everybody doesn't have it figured out, even if they're there. Maybe they would be just as clueless as me, but that's not what I was dreaming about. Maybe like 5% knew what they wanted to be doing. That sounds like everyone else at uni. Yeah, but, you know, I don't have to dream their insecurities. I only have to dream my own.
Like, you start completely anew. Although it would, my age, totally fine. You know, my academic ability would also be fine. But was it where my heart was at? I couldn't imagine it for the life of me to go make that step. I was really growing into esports. I was doing more than just playing, even then already at that time in 2004, like doing coaching, creating strategy articles, making videos. Even if I couldn't exactly predict where life or where esports was going to take me, that somehow, hopefully, it will be all right.
And in October 2004...
It did turn out all right. I met Fatsy recently. He says hi. Oh, Fatsy. I liked his micro a lot. Yeah, if you meet him again, let him know this. I'm curious what happened with him. I'd be curious to chat up sometime. Just to catch up on old times. Who's Fatsy? There was this French player, very good micro back in 2003 and 4. Antoine, I think was his name. And I remember the final tournament he played. He told me, this is the final tournament I'll play. I hope I win. It's the last one I'm going to play. And I remember thinking, you're not going to win with that attitude, you quitter. He became my template for, if you're thinking of quitting, you're a loser. I greatly respected him, by the way. Like, his level was really good. But I thought, I'll never be a loser that thinks I'll do one more tourney and then I'm gonna quit. Yeah, I mean, that's how I saw that. And like, the fact that he didn't win proved it to me that you should never say, I'm gonna play one more and then quit. Just play and don't think like that. And then once you're done, just quit then. Don't plan to quit. If you plan to quit, your heart is not in it. Might as well quit now. That was just my thoughts on that.
Grubby was rewarded for his decision.
And welcome to the World Cyber Games 2004.
I was pretty base or brutal sometimes. But you quit SE2? Yeah. And I didn't win either.
Cultural celebration.
But Creo said the same, right? Yes, he did. 3 years later, Creo said the same. And he won 2 world championships and like 40K. His final tourneys, and then he quit. So that disproved it. Creo just better.
Of young people from around the world. Over 700 players representing 64 countries will take part in the world's largest computer and video game festival.
Now it is 1-1. The deciding round between Korea and the Netherlands.
So in World Cyber Games, they try to model it a little bit after the Olympics and try to measure how many gold medals every nation is winning. And silver medals and bronze. And the best nation would actually get a lot of positive PR from the national media. So in a huge surprising turn of events, among all the huge countries in the world, the Netherlands won the World Cyber Games 2004 by most medals won. In part thanks to Quake player Lauki, and there were more. And then I won Warcraft 3. And there was a lot of media attention when we came back home. So, like, people love to hear, even though they didn't know anything about esports and games, the media and the people that don't play games, they love to hear, oh, Netherlands won the Cyber Games, the World Cyber Games. Loco? No, Lauki. Lauke. Unreal Tournament, Quake.
Orc versus Orc, 4 Kings versus Stroke Commando for first place in the World Cyber Games 2000.
Do you guys see my name? See? Square rectangle, 4K square rectangle, the other side Grubby, and of course I'm playing against, very easy to read, Welcome to, which was the screen name that Zakard was using here, SK Zakard.
And 4. Down goes the Shadow Hunter of level 5 falls. Grubby is on fire here. He sends Victory is with him as he chases down the Farseer, which hexes out, and it's not so good there by Grubby. And Grubby is going to take the victory here. He claims it. He takes the Farseer down, and unless one can do
140p chills.
And it's going to be over. The Netherlands take the victory.
I was unassuming. I didn't really know what everything meant. I got all the way to the finals. I met my Korean adversary.
Is that my voice? What? That doesn't sound like my voice. Guess I went through second puberty.
Zakard. And I thought, well, he's a Korean. Everyone knows Koreans are super elite. So this is the end. This is the end of my journey. I'm second place. Fantastic. I lost the first map and I was like, see, there you go. I was telling you. I have to mention we had a delegation of 35 Dutchies. They were all there, one big orange legion in the crowd. And they started chanting, Grubby, Grubby, Grubby. And I was like, oh man, I gotta do it. If not just for me, but for them too. And came back the next 2 games. Played better than I ever had in the last game, which was very cool.
$25,000 will go into Grubby's pockets as he beats Zakard, a Korean orc player, in a finals that will be remembered for a long time. While this is the biggest cash prize Grubby will get in his Warcraft 3 career,
I still have
it's
those.
probably not the one that felt the biggest win, because even though he had already made a name for himself, Grubby's Warcraft 3 career was just beginning. It's time we introduce another character, who will later be called the GOAT of Warcraft 3. He's Korean and he plays Night Elves like no other. The name is Moon.
Hell yeah, Spirit Moon. Man, look at this dude's posture. This is the premium gaming posture for RTS, clearly. Moon and me. Same.
In 2004 and 5, Grubby was the best player. Moon took over from 2006 onwards. And in 2006, the two titans clashed in what would become one of Grubby's most memorable achievements.
50 HP focus bar on that Demon Hunter. Demon Hunter does not have a TP, and Moon said GG, and Grubby
Feels good, man.
this match 3-1, and he is so happy.
Once again, exceeded myself in terms of what I thought I could do.
Once again, exceeded myself. Oh man, it's hard to listen to for me. Guys, can I give you some tips on humility? Just keep exceeding yourself over and over. If you keep exceeding yourself, you become better and better.
And Moon was playing good, don't get me wrong. Like, I was just really up there in my level.
Don't get me wrong. He was pretty good. I mean, it's Moon. Let's give him credit where credit is due. But I was higher than that. So, oh my god. I was just better. It is what it is. Unfortunate for him. But yeah, I happen to be his opponent. Sucks for him.
And after that, Grubby will have one last big breakthrough in his Warcraft 3 career.
WCG 2008, and people were saying, Grubby has been. You can't do it anymore. You had your good run in 2004-5, maybe 6. 7 was not so great. Now it's 2008, it's drawing to a close. We don't think it's going to be your tournament. And I felt so energized by my team, by my wife, by my family, my friends, my teammates, the fans that still believed in me. And I wanted to disprove the haters. Luck and will and willpower and visualization and everything and my training, it all pulled me through, and I won the WCG for the second time 4 years later. And knowing what everything meant, it was one of the most emotional victories for me ever.
And with that, Grubby cements himself as a big part of Warcraft 3 history. From 2003 until 2010, he will win at least one major championship per year. making him one of the longest reigning pro in the game. I tried to imagine what it's like, being on top of a game and then slowly starting to understand that maybe your time has passed. How do you accept that? How do you move on?
The way
Just don't accept it. Just don't accept it. Keep chasing the same high until it never comes anymore, and then become a streamer.
I see it is a beautiful chapter of my life. I store the memory in a box in my mind. I can open the box up basically anytime that I'm not senile yet. Anytime right now it's...
That's a good qualifier, because I was going to say, I'll catch him on that technicality. Beautiful memories, you keep them in a box and you can revisit them, except if you turn senile, then you can't anymore. But I thought about that.
Can open that box and enjoy those experiences again. And that feeling is made stronger by talking about it, by doing those Grubby Warcraft 3 commentaries that I did on YouTube. By talking and reminiscing with my wife or with other people who were in Warcraft 3 at the time. And I just think it's a beautiful chapter, and it had its place. As we know now, the esports scene in Warcraft 3 is pretty much non-existent.
Yeah.
But Warcraft 3 still lives on in our hearts. In my heart and in those of the fans. And as
true! That's true, actually.
corny as that may sound, as I'm sure it does, it's really true. And I just realized, and it took me a long time to accept, Warcraft 3 was on the decline in terms of purely statistically. And you could almost say I was pretty much the captain on the sinking ship, the last to leave. By rights, I wouldn't have been able to call myself a pro gamer anymore. Like, it wouldn't have been a profession, because
You're not a professional anymore because there's no more tournaments. You would just be playing by yourself. So I was forced to either switch to Starcraft 2 or go do something else.
yeah, when everyone withdraws their support, not the fans, because they still love the game, as do I, but like, it's just not interesting anymore, business-wise, for companies to invest, then eventually you have to make that switch. Either you leave esports or you go to another game. Not
My sponsor kept telling me, switch to Starcraft 2. He's like, I respect if you want to keep playing Warcraft 3 and I'll keep supporting you, but you really should switch to Starcraft 2. And by the way, also switch to the new SteelSeries 6GV2 keyboard.
accepting that would make me...
Wasn't it EG? No, it was my SteelSeries sponsor. I was using Microsoft Internet Keyboard Rubber Dome. He wanted two things of me. That I start using the SteelSeries 6GV2 black switch keyboard with N-key rollover and switch to Starcraft 2.
I don't think a happier person, like, it would be like some kind of regret or sadness. Like, everything is not forever, as is that. And yeah, that's the way it is. It's okay.
As the Warcraft 3 scene began to slowly fade away, another game was gaining in popularity. While practicing for a Warcraft 3 tournament, Grubby confessed watching a Starcraft 2 event with envy. The crowd he once had behind him was now focused on a different scene.
I was in South Korea for a Warcraft 3 tournament, and I turned on Twitch, which was very new, and I had not streamed yet myself. And I saw over 100,000 StarCraft 2 viewers on Justin TV watching StarCraft 2, right? With Apollo casting. And I was like, man, this is amazing. Part of what I love about Warcraft 3 is Warcraft 3 the game. And part of it is that people enjoy the same game together and are looking at games and being awed at the plays that are happening there. And that part I saw bigger than ever before in StarCraft 2 and Justin TV. So I wanted to be a part of the scene because of that as well. Yo, Viper, thanks for the sub.
What he had could be reached again, but in a different game.
I think that was one of the biggest forks in my life. And I was considering about 4 things. I was considering applying for a job at Blizzard.
Yep.
I had a couple of people. I did actually. I was in a hotel when I had a job call with them. To interview me, like a remote phone call to check my interest and my my professionalism and so on. I was extremely jet lagged. I didn't prepare at all. I wasn't really interested. I just wanted I guess like an easy in. I didn't know that I was actually going to have to appear impressive or know anything. They asked me some questions about game design and balance and how would you solve this problem and that, and I did not answer very well. Yeah, so there was no follow-up. People that were asking me to maybe take a position like on the balance team or design team or something. And then another one was quit, cold turkey, leave esports, go do something else, study, or... I used to do IRL blogs in South Korea. Some other kind of job. The third one was actually online poker, which was quite the buzz back in 2010 and before. I had actually done a little bit of training, a little bit of book reading. Is he bored by poker? What's going on here? A little bit of practice, nothing much, just a couple of $100. The fourth, not the final option, but the fourth option in this list, and I'm saving it for last, was to transition to a second game, in this case Starcraft 2.
As a player, I had to prove myself all over again. If I sucked, never amounted to anything at all, that's a risk. Because suddenly I'm not a top 3 player anymore, and
I would lose aura.
that guy who used to be really good at a game but then got worse at the next. I knew I might not be the best in 3 months or in 6 months, or maybe not ever, but I could be. And I had no lack of confidence that my improvement, even if it isn't meteoric, that it would be steady enough to continually improve and to eventually start playing with the big boys, then for real play with the big boys, then be a big boy, stuff like that.
In 2011,
I was a big boy. I was never the biggest boy, but I was pretty big.
he made up his mind he would commit everything to StarCraft 2. Imagine if Rafael Nadal started playing table tennis. It's similar, yet completely different. You have to put aside everything
Hey,
you
my
know
posture
at table
improved.
tennis. It's
See?
similar,
I'm straighter.
yet completely different. You have to put aside everything you know, as well as your ego, and become
I
a
think
nobody
this is
again.
CPL
Well, it's
Copenhagen.
even worse than a nobody. You're an ex-champion. So people
Oh my god, look at this freaking monitor. That's clearly not a BenQ XL2420Z monitor or BenQ 2720Z monitor or the XL2420T monitor with black equalizer. Those all have adjustable height, they have swivel capabilities, etc, etc. This monitor, it just has one stand, and in order to get it up to the height that I needed to put several magazines underneath. Ridiculous.
will have expectations. Were you good at just that one thing? Or are you someone who's really talented
Are you sponsored again? No, I was in that time.
and can be good at multiple things? Is there something special about you? Or was your
Wait, who's that?
success
Wait, isn't that a weirdo
and
guy?
can be good at multiple things? Is there something special about you?
This is some weirdo. I forgot who it is. Is it Firecake or something? Anyone remember who this guy is? Lelouch. Oh yeah, Lelouch. Yeah, it's Lelouch. I think it's true. What do you mean by weirdo? I don't know. I just remember him as some Zerg swarm host abuser or something.
Or was your success just luck?
Yeah, I mean, I started playing pretty long days in...
Mana. That's mana.
Just luck.
Yeah, I mean, I started playing pretty long days
Calder.
back in January, like half January, so it's about 3 months now. I didn't really leave Warcraft behind mentally, but at the same time, there's nothing at all to play for Warcraft 3 right now. Like, nothing interesting. Even if there's like one event in a year that cannot really support you and you can't really call yourself a pro gamer. And the lucky thing is that StarCraft 2 is a really great game, really fun, so... yeah.
And Kaz has to prove that he's able to beat Grubby. Grubby, on the other hand, he only can win in this match. I don't think he can lose. He already played amazingly well, and he has nothing to lose as his reputation. Everybody knows he is an amazing player, has been a great Warcraft 3 player. But in StarCraft 2, this is his first offline event. He is ranked top 4 already, so Grubby has nothing to lose at all. He is allowed to lose against Kaz.
It was actually my second offline event, or third, CPL Copenhagen. I went to Norway and then France and then this one. I got fourth in France, and I think this one I got second or third. Third.
And 3 months after I started, I took third place in Copenhagen Games, beating
AK.
Tilo and Moro. Poor them that they always get used as the example of my breakthrough. Yeah, so there's that. I said in 6 months, I'll be able to kind of play with the big boys on par, hopefully, in my mind, trading equal scores with them. And It was more or less true as well.
And in October 2011, he participated in the IESF World Championship. That sounds like a big deal, but even though the event was held in South Korea, no Koreans were allowed in the tournament. And at the time, 4 of the 8 best players in the world are Koreans. The fans don't understand it, and the prestige of the tournament takes a big hit, but still, Grubby reached the final and lost 3-0 to Escho. It's a long story, and doesn't really add to our narrative, but Blizzard, the company...
I forgot I got second at IESF. So I usually quote my SC2 performances as second, third, and fourth, but it's actually second, third, and fourth.
Behind Starcraft.
Esjo, yeah, he means show. 03 to show.
And Kespa, the Korean org that was managing the whole Starcraft 1 scene, had some difficulties collaborating. That resulted in inconsistent participation of Korean Starcraft 2 pro players in international tournaments, especially the World Championship Series. But back to Grubby. Even though he joined the Starcraft 2 scene a year after its beginning, he was managing solid top 8 performances.
You know, it's funny. I was speaking to an old friend, a Bulgarian friend, who was also in Poland for the IEM, and he said, "Hey Grubby, I remember you took quite a while to get good in Warcraft 3, but when you finally got good, you dominated. Is it the same for you in Starcraft so far? Like it took you longer, but you're gonna hit hard?" I was thinking, like, that describes me reasonably well. Like, it's kind of frustrating that I can't be the king of the beta or whatever, but that's kind of how it happens for me. Like, it takes a while to fill out all the gaps of knowledge, and I like to understand the game as a whole. So hopefully I'll also be able to hit harder in StarCraft.
The World Championship Europe League of 2013 featured Grubby's biggest win of his StarCraft 2 career. In Cologne, Germany, Grubby and 15 other players battled it out to qualify for the World Championship Series final.
The Orc King, of course, the one and only Grubby, currently ranked 44, which sort of belies his form.
And it really can go either way, so every little edge you can get, whether it be breathing and concentrating and keeping the heart rate down, whether it be picking the right map or whatnot, taking your shoes off as it seems Grubby is doing here.
That's it, man, that was great. Hasu Orbs fighting on here for Germany, trying to push Grubby back. He's down to these last stalkers. GG!
In his group, Grubby lost to Osu Ops and beat Rhett, meaning he was 1-1 and needed to win his next match to move on to playoffs. Unfortunately for him, he faced MVP, a Korean monster, reigning Europe champion, that he's had to face twice before and never even took a game off him.
Grubby knows and knew for a while, going into this group, that there was the potential of him having to go up against MVP. So something has gone on in Grubby's practice, guaranteed, absolutely guaranteed.
Yeah.
He's prepared something for this. There you go, bye-bye. Oh, just barely drops that mouse, but there you go, GG for game number 1, MVP takes it. MVP gets slaughtered despite killing off the Nexus. He loses so many workers. Yeah, nice to have gone down.
And then Grubby may just have enough here to clean up. Got Blink 2 and MVP's like, well, that was my best chance. Didn't work. GG. Clean house. Grubby ties up the series.
I used a special super fast Oracle build this game. It worked so well, and I had checked MVP's scouting route, and I knew he's not going to find it based on his standard scouting route. This was like 30 seconds faster than other people ever made Oracles, because I did some special tricks with my economy. So the Oracle got in, killed like 10 plus SCVs.
In 3, they're tied 1-1, but nobody expects what we're about to witness.
We now head into game number 3. Spawning down to the bottom right-hand corner is that man himself in the blue,
Whirlwind,
representing Netherlands. Give it up for Grubby. Spawning down to the bottom left-hand corner, the reigning champion of WCS Europe, representing Korea and LGIM. Give it up for MVP.
And Grubby gets in there nice and early. He was scouting, comes across, spots the barracks, spots the refinery. It is a 12-12 once again. Maybe even get an SCV kill on the natural.
Ooh.
Whoa, nice little pick-off. Grubby sees it.
There's the addition of the photon cannon though as well. That if he throws down a force field on the ramp, if he
He doesn't have that photon overcharge, man. He's already been used. Another force field comes down. The sentries are going to fall down, and Grubby's taking losses. Grubby's taking a lot here. The Stalker's probably going to fall immediately behind it. And just the addition of these allies is something that probably Grubby and a couple of other Protoss players just not have played against.
Yeah, that's really, really true here. But he's doing a good job of actually saving quite a lot of the probes. The Immortal comes down and shuts all of this down, which is Good
He could have
game
easily
for Grubby.
killed
38 workers
5
to
to 10.
33. A good hold there by
He
Grubby, I would
focused
say.
the stalkers with
2
Hellion.
additional gateways, no tech, no gas mining. All right, this is it.
This is it, guys.
This is it. He's going to try and break MVP. MVP stim, not close. He's not there.
Oh.
He's not there in time.
It's going to bust. It's going to break down.
Wait, I proxied a robo?
In time there. The force fields actually
Did I
prevent all
proxy
the
a
repair
robo?
as well.
Too
Or a
many backs
pylon?
about to pop, though.
That's big.
That changes a lot.
It's so vulnerable.
It's very risky. He knows this is going out there. He needs to see if he can do this. This could be very intelligent from him.
Grubby could do a lot of damage here. He could do a lot of damage. He's moving into the natural as well.
Good.
MVP sending all of his units straight over to his opponent's
Base
natural.
trade, very
and here
risky
we go, guys.
against
Grubby
Terran.
is just, he's going for it.
All right, so MVP gets caught with his
Nice.
SCVs, but
Nice.
also he's moving out to attack.
Nicer.
Nail-biting finisher to this one. Remember, there's a Colossus there. If he can actually get forced, he
Recall.
recalls back right into this.
He recalls back. How
Before
much?
losing the Nexus,
He's killed 22 workers. He's killed 22. It's 53 to 30 right now.
Nice.
Grubby
He's doing it.
He's doing it. MVP, I think he knows. He has to do the damage.
Has to be force fielded well.
MVP is feeling the pressure. He feels
Huge
the
army.
pressure. He has
Huge.
a great army at the front of this position. But the 2 Colossus
Well,
now.
MVP stopped SCV production. This is it. All Grubby needs to do is defend. He actually doesn't need a fight. He just needs to defend.
He's got a bigger army.
Here we go. This is it.
That's a huge army here moving forward here. The photon cannon's going to be able to help out quite considerably as well. 3 Colossus. Are they going
Nice
to be able to stop
Archons.
this Bioforce
Colossus.
quickly enough? That Bio is doing so much damage from the back here. But Grubby is
Good.
actually pushing this back here with those Archons pushing on forwards. All he has to do is shut this down. He doesn't even need to retain everything back this.
And he's complete forward.
He's going to kill it off. He's
Good.
done it. Grubby has done it. He's going to kill off MVP here. He is going to kill off the European remaining champion. A GG. Grubby so happy with the win, advancing on to the round of 8. Oh my God. Get day 1 of the round of 16. See some insane games, some insane upsets. The emotion from Grubby here pouring through.
Yeah, he is
Day number
very,
1.
very emotional. We talked about it a lot, how much it
Makes
meant to
me
him
cry
to do
again
well
seeing
here
it.
today. He's worked hard, he's put in the time, he's put in the effort, and he's just beat the champion of the WCS Europe Premier League, and he moves on to the round of 8, wiping tears away on the screen, trying not to show you guys there.
I mentioned to Cassandra earlier that it's been 10 years, almost to the week, that you first took part in a LAN and won 200 euros. Here you are 10 years on. Does it get old at all? Are you ever thinking about retiring like Stefano?
No, I mean, I've never felt the way I did just now. Like, I feel like it never gets old. It stays hard, you know, like, there's always new challenges. And, like, Cassandra and me, we worked so hard for this together, like... And... But what was kind of new this time, apart from the fact that I made it to round of 16, I also got a lot of help from my friend Frank. So I really want to thank him too.
I'm going to let you go and catch up with your friends and your wife. Congratulations, you are through to the round of 8. God, starting to get me going now as well.
But while this was happening and the scene was doing well on the front, some things started to rub Grubby the wrong way. He wouldn't talk about it publicly right away, but he opened up much later.
In WCS 2012, you had WCS in 2013. What was happening in these times is that you would have games from great Zerg players, and they would...
I see what was happening. Swarmos came out. Thanks, Blizzard. You see all these freaking locusts. All 3 units.
In these times is that you would have games from great Zerg players, and they would be using strategies of Broodlord Infestor, and you just couldn't crack that egg as an opponent. And the funniest thing is when they played against each other, and you would actually get...
Imagine if they actually hired me for the balance team, Blizzard, back in 2010, when I applied. Then none of this shit would have happened. Like Tempest against Swarmos, Broodlord and shit.
3-hour games. And of course, all of us saw this coming already. Like in the pro scene, Zerg players, Protoss and Terran all know, like everyone must admit that Broodlord Infestor is like a problematic unit combination. And of course, as someone that lives, eats and breathes the game every day as a
Fancy text generator, unit and building design, slowness of crucially needed balancing, Broodlord Investor, Stefano Firecake, 3-hour games. They would alt up and go to Twitter. Are you seeing this?
As a professional streamer and as a professional tournament player, every day that this kind of meta continues hurts your soul. It takes something out of you because you're tilted every time you play against it. The Zergs cannot be blamed. Don't hate the player, hate the game, right?
I'm not sure if I agree with this. Is that true? I mean, technically, yes.
That's what I did. I started hating playing against that kind of playstyle with the Broodlord Infestor. But there was always that ray of light. Even though Blizzard is starting to be a little bit less admirable and perfect as I always thought and hoped, at least we've still got 2 expansions coming out. Heart of the Swarm and Legacy of the Void. And surely any deficiencies in Wings of Liberty could be fixed in the new game.
And he waited 3 long years until March 12th of 2013, when Blizzard finally released the first extension to Starcraft 2, Heart of the Swarm.
The 2014 Swarm host meta...
If you don't know what you're looking at, do you see all the health bars with gray, with a gray fill in? Every single horizontal bar with a partial light gray is the timed life remaining out of the maximum of a freely summoned, freely attacking, rally across the map unit called the Locust. 2 are summoned from a swarm host for every swarm host you have. These creatures here are buried and invisible for an opponent unless they have detection. The detection is zoned out via spore crawlers, overseers, and corruptors. And the swarm hosts on each side are shooting endless waves of units, which don't give any reward when you kill them, unlike in Warcraft 3, where killing summoned units gets you experience points. Additionally, Warcraft 3 has Dispel Magic, where you can do massive amounts of damage and instantly unsummon enemy summons. In Starcraft 2, they're just like any other unit. They're very strong, and they are made freely, which directly breaks the economy and balance of an economy-based RTS game.
Bravely and boldly asked a single question. What if StarCraft games routinely lasted for multiple hours? The Swarm host's ability to summon
2 hours,
wave after
16 minutes.
wave of locusts who weren't particularly strong.
By the way, the great part, if you look at the minimap, the red player has won. He has mined out the entire map. He owns the whole map. The blue player is down to a single base. Neither player are mining anymore. One player has 468 APM, the other 180, because why bother? They both rallied their locust into the enemy, and neither has a way to break the stalemate. What a great game design.
Ushered in the most degenerate turtle metas in the history of the game. Swarm hosts in front of your base would constantly spawn locusts who wouldn't do that much damage, but by the time you'd finished them off, the next wave would be on their way. The style was slow, agonizing, and frustrating.
I could not believe when Heart of the Swarm finally came out, the very unit that was the most hated by every single player in the game, the Broodlord, that they made another unit like the Broodlord, the Swarm host. I couldn't believe it.
By the end of 2014, Grubby had enough. The one game that conquered his heart, Warcraft 3, was dead, and the game he learned to love, Starcraft 2, broke his heart.
True.
After 10 years of professional gaming, Manuel Grubby Schenkhausen is 28 years old. It's too late to try to become a pro in a new game, but he earned $300,000 in work. 10 years of professional gaming, Manuel Grubby Schenkhausen is 28 years old. It's too late to try to become a pro in a new game, but he earned $300,000 in Warcraft 3 and $60,000 in Starcraft 2 in prize money, and probably the same amount in sponsors, team salaries and merch. It's a decent amount, but not enough to stop working, so what can he do now? It shouldn't be a surprise to hear that a real-time strategy pro player had a real-life strategy. I haven't mentioned it yet, but since the debut of his Starcraft 2 career, Grubby began to stream on Justin TV.
So Starcraft 2 was like a package deal for me, which was both competing in another game, trying to prove myself in another game, but also the aspect of the interconnectedness of a platform like Twitch, or as it was called then, Justin TV. And so that package deal is something I always be streaming for Ayur enjoyed during SE2. I was always streaming a little bit. That's a Facebook announcement, by the way. The site as well. I had always 2,116 average viewers, peak viewers 5,222. Total followers, 2,868. Total streams, 40. Whoa. 40 streams. Tried to set up a few different income sources. I peaked over 10,000 viewers for a couple of days after I won the Heart of the Swarm show match on the Heart of the Swarm release spectacle. I feel like I didn't really make use of that time because I ended up going to some show match or tournament, and I went to Take TV's place. I went to go play a tournament at Take TV's over the weekend, and when I really wanted to be streaming, making use of a time where my name was being mentioned around the world for SE2 and I had over 10,000 viewers, instead I played a tournament that had technical difficulties and where the promise that I can keep streaming were broken by their technical difficulties. So I'd be crashing out of stream with 10k viewers to play a tournament I didn't really care about. That was a bad decision. I should have just stayed at home. But he was a friend and he invited me, and so I went. But I ended up regretting that. Regretting not using that time where everybody knew my name extra in the Starcraft 2 scene to stream. And so I kind of made a note of that to not fail myself and fail that opportunity again in the future. And this is how I kind of started to think about maybe like full-time streaming could be quite cool at some point in the future.
Okay, then the plan is easy, become a full-time streamer. Well, no, his audience wasn't there only because it's Grubby, but mainly because he's a pro player, playing their favorite game, Starcraft 2.
I had a stream that would get anywhere from 2,000 to 7,000 viewers. So switching away from SE2 without having ever dabbled in any variety on YouTube or Twitch, and basically choosing a life of not even competing in the game anymore, felt incredibly risky. That's a cool lighting setup, man. I like what I did to the hair there. I did a trial stream for Heroes of the Storm, and instead of having 2,500 viewers, I had 50. And then the next stream I had 150, and then 200. And those are really small numbers. That's like, it's very shocking in a way. But at the same time, it felt so wholesome because I was doing a new start where I wasn't salty every day. I wasn't tilted out of the wazoo every day playing StarCraft 2, a game that I was no longer passionate about because of decisions in design and balance. I was having so much fun, man. It just felt like a really cool, brave new world, like a new start. I was willing to take that risk. I was hoping it was going to work out as a career, and I figured if it doesn't, then I'll just think of something else.
You see, the Twitch metagame is as follows. When you're a streamer, people either watch you because of what you do or because of who you are. If you're from that first category, you're stuck with your game. If it dies out, you're left without a community to support you. But because within that game there are way less streamers competing with you, it's in quotes easier to grow and maintain your audience.
My wife had... In a way, yes. If you are the best at what you do in a small niche game that nobody else streams or plays, you can become the king of that category, which is strong. Twitch has a kingmaker category principle. If you're the #1 streamer in a game category, anyone who's interested in the game will first click your channel. Then if there's anything about your channel they don't like, then they'll switch to the second most viewed channel, etc., etc. But usually it starts from the top. If you don't like that person, you go to the next, etc. And so there is a benefit in being on top. But there's also limited growth capability based on the game's own popularity and propensity to draw viewers. So even if you're like the best streamer in the world in general, but you play WoW retail PvP, then maybe you will only get 2,000 viewers. But then when you're unshackled from the constraints of the general interest in that game, and you switch to something like WoW Classic, you could suddenly have 16,000 viewers because, you know, it's popping off. You're very entertaining. etc. Like Peekaboo, yes. And every game has its own kind of like soft cap. And some streamers, when you get big enough and you do enough variety content, maybe you're entertaining enough, you can go across different games and break the trends of that game's particular interest level on average. Like some people do not stand under ceilings. They determine where the ceiling is. But it can be risky or scary sometimes to try and switch and navigate to different titles. Had started, and there's always going to be a lot of random factors as well with Twitch. To play Heroes of the Storm, Blizzard's new MOBA game, and she was having so much fun every day. Every day I was tilted and I would hear her laugh playing Heroes of the Storm. And one day she said, "Wanna try?" So I played a game on her account. I really enjoyed it. And then one time when I was actually supposed to be playing Starcraft 2 during Christmas, and I say supposed to be, I mean, it's a vacation, nobody would care, nobody would know. But in my mind, with my discipline towards practice came first before almost everything. One of my friends asked, "Don't you just want to turn on the stream?" So that's actually the first time I tried to turn on the stream with Heroes of the Storm, with the fear that the Starcraft 2 community would be like, "What is this?" Like my community, my Grubster community, right? In Twitch. "What is this? We don't want to see this. We're Starcraft." Despite the quote unquote less professional success in that moment, I realized I was happy to build a new start rather than trying to hang on to something I was no longer really having my heart into.
Becoming a full-time streamer is the decision Grubby will take in early 2015. The goals: have fun, enjoy streaming, but still work hard to try and make it sustainable.
Hey ladies and gentlemen. Hey everyone, it's Grubby here. Hey everyone, it's Grubby here. You stumbled upon my one-stop Sergeant Hammer guide. What?
He's done.
Achievement unlocked. Did you see the heels? I was supposed to die. Greymane and Burning Rage Johanna all inning me. Of course, Rager was healing me as well. 4-man hit. Holy, holy. Holy, holy.
What?
What was that?
What?
I just made it like a daily goal to play it and to stream it and to teach people the game, and I made guides and everything. So yeah, before you knew it, we got into the thousands of viewers, eventually 5,000 averages. We've been over 10,000 viewers as well in Heroes of the Storm. It became so much fun to keep up with like new content beat, like new heroes coming out, patch updates. Yeah, it was great, honestly.
And if you're thinking, that's it, now he'll settle as a Heroes of the Storm streamer, then you haven't been paying attention. Grubby loves Warcraft 3. That's his game, his youth, his jam. 2 years after streaming HOTS full-time, he switched up his stream schedule.
The concept of doing like 5 days of HOTS and then 2 days of Warcraft 3 was pretty novel at first, because the way I saw it, most streamers were just doing one game only. And doing 2 games was definitely interesting. I made sure to do fixed days for fixed games so that people knew what to expect. So his blade was inside my units for a long time.
Yo! Your story inspired me to use my free Prime subscription to subscribe to you, Grubface.
Yo, thanks, Noku. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. You too, Big Rock. Epic stuff. These Warcraft videos are becoming my favorite thing to watch. I've been watching your replays since the early days of WCG Glory, and I enjoyed them even though I wasn't very good myself. 0 dislikes is a rare thing to see on YouTube. Well done, Grubster. These days, it's pretty common. Because they removed them, KekW. Please, more of this video. Met and became friends with a guy. Oh, I thought he became a guy because of my videos. That would be a common W for sure. I heard your voice and asked him if he was watching HOTS or Warcraft 3. So it would be like every Saturday and Sunday was Warcraft 3. And every day of the week was Heroes of the Storm. So everyone knew what they were getting. It would usually take about 2 weeks to 2 months for people to understand that schedule and to kind of, you know, get used to it. But once I finally got that schedule down and people got used to it, I think it made it more comfortable and comforting for everyone, myself and all the viewers as well.
You heard it right, 7 days of streaming, no breaks. As a pro gamer, Grubby was always the guy to practice really hard with great discipline. With 10 years of esports career, I think Grubby...
You don't really need great discipline if you have great passion and enthusiasm. Discipline happens when your enthusiasm isn't there, but you try to go the extra mile anyway to become better. Of course, I had that too sometimes. I sometimes didn't like a matchup, but I had to work on it anyway. But enthusiasm covered most of it.
Grubby was basically programmed to tackle challenges as if they were games. Streaming hours were like practice hours. Viewers...
I think this might be one of the unhealthiest I looked.
To tackle challenges as if they were games. Streaming hours...
Look at that. Something about... I was very skinny. The lighting, not good.
Were like practice hours. Viewers were like fans. But what could replace the heat and adrenaline of tournaments? What could motivate him if not podiums and trophies?
I think I went to a TwitchCon in 2021 and I spoke to other streamers, bigger streamers than me, smaller streamers, similarly sized streamers, and I saw that some people were basically playing all kinds of different games. And for me, I felt a lot of anxiety and resistance to streaming other games that seem fun. Other games than Battle.net games, other games than Blizzard games, other games than my main games of Heroes of the Storm and Warcraft 3. But I saw other people were more daring, or experimental, or experienced with these things. And so, oh my god, it's Tyler! Saw other people were more daring, or experimental, or experienced with these things. And so I decided I'm gonna experiment more. It was actually very inspiring to go to TwitchCon, and then I started Variety Arc. Variety Arc. No! Oh, look at chat!
Who took one burger bun out of the package?
It's hungry! Is someone eating?
When I get interested in a game, I really want to dig my teeth in and try to find out everything I can about it. I want to allow myself to get hooked on it and just binge it for a while. So I'm not like I'm playing a different game every day variety, but there's more of an open door now towards other content, which I think is really cool. I was very worried that it was going to affect viewership count. I was worried it was going to affect subscriber count when I'm doing these new things, and people that just want Warcraft 3 or Heroes of the Storm from me wouldn't like it. But surprisingly, not only did the subscriber count remain stable, in fact, it went up a little bit. And the viewership also was within very reasonable norms and trends. So that was incredibly gratifying. It meant that my community resonated with the changes that I had been making, with the new content that I was presenting. I was genuinely enjoying myself with these games, and people liked it as well. I mean, it was just like a dream. I know streaming is a privileged position and that many people want to be a content creator, but it doesn't mean that the stress that can come with potentially facing a downcut of your of the amount that your content is viewed by a factor 10 is not stressful. Of course it is, but you gotta start somewhere. I once took that risk when I went from Starcraft to a game where I had up to 10,000 viewers and I had averaged over 3,000 viewers, and I go to Heroes of the Storm with the low hundreds. That's a big drop. But the reason that it felt right for me is because I was super done with SC2. Realistically, I should probably not have waited that long until I was tilted out of my mind about the game.
True.
Realistically, I should have probably started doing that a little earlier. But that would have felt too risky to me at the time. Yeah. So learning from other people's mistakes or stories, as maybe someone is learning from my story, maybe try that a little earlier and try to develop a genuine connection to games and see how many people will follow watching you there. No matter how many people are saying, I would watch you play anything. The reality is the number doesn't lie. The number tells the truth. If your viewership goes down a lot playing something new, it means that not as many of your previous audience is switching over to follow you in that journey. Not as many of your previous... What's this called again? Frostpunk 2. It's funny, the Tiramis, the editor of this video, is showing this moment when I mention if you don't have as many viewers, because I was streaming Frostpunk 2. I was enjoying. I wanted to complete the mission. But I was streaming to 1500 to 2K, so I never finished it. RIP. Previous audience is switching over to follow you in that journey. And then maybe you'll have... What's that mustache? You know, every now and then I shave my beard off and I keep the mustache, and I have a shit-eating grin when I look at my wife. And I'm like, shall I? And she's like, no. And then I'm forced to take the mustache off before stream. I have to build a new audience. And maybe that will work or maybe it won't. So that is a risk that you're going to have to take yourself. I do the exact same thing. Looks like a sex predator. Yeah, that's what she says too. When you have only mustache, certain faces, certain facial hair growth, if you have only a mustache and no chin hair, I'm sorry, but you know. If you see it, you know.
Between 2003 and 2013, Grubby participated in 300 gaming events and tournaments and came in first in about 100 of those. He triumphed in almost 40 LAN events all over Europe, America and Asia. He became a world-class player in Warcraft 3 and Starcraft 2. Between 2014 and 2024, Grubby streamed 22 different games for at least 30 hours. RTSs like Northgard, Starcraft, Age of Empires 2 and 4, but also RPGs like Elden Ring, Baldur's Gate 3, MOBAs like Heroes of the Storm, Dota 2 and more. And for all of these games, he averaged over 2,000 viewers, with peaks from 11 to 17k.
The reasons I started professionally competing were several. First of all, it was the thing that I was good at. And I was very good at Warcraft 3. And this allowed me to find a career in it. It then created a dynamic where I would pretty much... You were so cute, what happened? I know, right? I lost my baby fats. Very several. First of all, it was the thing me to find a career in it. It then created a dynamic where I would pretty much do Warcraft 3 and think Warcraft 3 and eat Siberia V2. I missed the feeling of that headset. Bro, this headset is one of the most comfortable headsets I've ever had. Unfortunately, it was not built to last for a long time, so I went through at least 5, and they're not made anymore. Very cheaply made, unfortunately, in terms of durability, but holy shit, but it was good when it lasted. It would just break. Like, of course, I traveled with it, so I don't know what your mileage with it is, if you just keep it at home and use it, but it broke pretty fast. A dynamic where I would pretty much do Warcraft 3 and think Warcraft 3 and eat Warcraft 3 and plan Warcraft 3 over everything. And I loved it. And, you know, that's the joys and the tribulations of professional gaming and of competing. But it meant that there was definitely really high highs and really low lows as well. True. And I remember those lows well. Those lows are a lot lower than you have when you are a streamer. The highs... Well, those lows are a lot lower. 2010, WCG finals in 2010 against Remind. I got second, he got first. Lower than you have when you are a streamer. The highs, usually higher, but not per se. I would say streaming has fantastic highs as well, but without the extreme lows from failed competitions. Not that yet. I think it's very likely I'll be streaming 1 year from now, but I've never known for sure. I didn't predict switching to SE2 or switching from SE2 to HOTS or to streaming. And in fact, in the first year that I started esports career in Warcraft 3, I predicted in 1 year afterwards, I would be stopping and going back to school doing university. That is such a Dutch look. I still have this bike, by the way. I've had this bike for like 20, 30 years. Maybe not 30. All right, 20, 25 years. It's so good. Very durable. University and getting some kind of other quote-unquote normal job. And so now it's also the same. I don't know what I'm possibly going to be doing in the future, but throughout all of it, especially planning all this and managing this together with my wife, I feel like I've always had an optimism about, I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm sure with our head intact and with our hands and feet, we can make something work. I'm optimistic about the future generally. I always have a feeling like it's going to work out. So I have optimism and uncertainty about the future, and it doesn't give me anxiety. And for now, I'm just really happy to be doing what I am, and I'm very grateful for everyone's support. And I'm happy that we can talk freely about all kinds of topics that aren't just about gaming, but also about mindset and psychology. You know what? It's not a one-way street. People say that a lot, that they get support. And this was a joke, by the way. I didn't realize. Grubby, why would anyone play on ladder? It's bad for your well-being. People call you stupid every time. I'm tilting every time. I tried to enjoy it, but I gave up and bought a chair. He meant it literally. Why would you play while being on a ladder? Like a climbing ladder? I thought he was talking about ladder anxiety. So I took like 3 minutes to explain mindset, but it was just a joke. You know what? It's not a one-way street. People say that a lot, that they get support and that they feel this community from watching the stream, but it's the same way from my side as well. It's, you know, people are not just viewership numbers and a +1. The amount of satisfaction and joy that I get from just reading Twitch chat and YouTube comments and seeing people's jokes and comments and questions. It's you. This has been very valuable for me as well, and I'm enjoying that every day. So I hope to be doing this for longer, and I'm grateful that everyone's been part of that journey. Very good video. Nice job, Tiramis.
And there it is, the full story of Grubby. I'm convinced we will continue to see Grubby thrive in the gaming sphere as he has for the past 2 decades. I've wanted to tell this story for a long time now, so if you're still watching, thank you so much. Thank you, Grubby, for taking the time to talk to me. He's a busy guy and he still took about 40 minutes of his time to answer my questions. If you've been around from the beginning or if you're one of my supporters on Patreon, thank you so much. I really appreciate the support. I want to keep going. I want to make more videos in the near future, but videos like these take a long time to make.
I bet.
But I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one.
Nice job. I linked it in chat, guys. If you want to see it, it's in chat. Give it a like, and if you watch the video that I just linked for 30 seconds, it counts as a view. That helps a lot as well. If you want to see it again, it's there as well. Great video. Really enjoyed it.